Good evening, social media and blog talk radio. Well, we are here on the JADASA live broadcast streaming on social media again and on blog talk Elations Radio. I am your host, Cynthia R. Bennett, and here on the JADASA podcast, we talk about issues dealing with domestic abuse and neglect in the community. Our platform is used to raise awareness, provide resources, and offer hope through educating, edifying, and encouraging. I want to thank you, our viewers and our listeners, for tuning in and ask that if this podcast assists and helps you or your family or your friends or your neighbors or those that you may forward the podcast to, if it helps you in any way, we asking that you donate into this much needed cause because your donations can save a life. It can help survivors and their children. You can do this by going to our website at jadasa.org or and hit the donate button on the website, or you can go to our PayPal account where you will put in our name JADASA.org, or you can cash app us at $JADASA STL, JADASTL. I want you to know whatever you do and whatever you give to JADASA, your donations are fully tax deductible. But before we get started tonight, you know that coming up is October, and October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And this month, there's a lot of activity that goes along surrounding the movement. And with JADASA is usually involved, and usually we are involved in a lot of fundraising and awareness for the movement, for the cause to assist women and children who are going through or living in those type of households. One day it could be you, the next day is somebody else. So we just here, we're asking for resources. It is a much needed cause. One organization can't do it, but I am here to just kind of share with you some of the announcements before we get into tonight's segment. And so I'm going to share my little screen. Bear with me and just let you know what's going on for the month of October. Of course, every week started in this month, September, every Wednesday, we have the Sister Sis, which is a weekly closed group support circle. And this is closed exactly what it is. If you want to participate and come in and share, we share. We provide testimonies. We provide encouragement. We provide resources. We talk to one another. We share. We cry. We do all those things that sometimes sisters, women need to do. We need to unload because every week, every day, we wear so many hats and we're doing so much for other people. And we often neglect ourselves. And sometimes we don't have all the necessary tools and the resources available to us. Well, this circle, we ask you to just come in and share because it's a full circle and because it's a closed circle. We want to make sure that you are safe and we are safe. So therefore, if you want to come, again, it's every Wednesday from 7 to 8:30. But we ask that you email us or go to our web page and put in the information saying Sister Sis, and that you want to participate. And so when you come and show up at the circle, we will, of course, ask you for your identification because we want to make sure you're safe, we're safe, and that what goes on in this circle stays in this circle. And we just want to make sure that we are there for each other. Now, that is the Sister Circle that's every Wednesday. So next we have, and coming up this Sunday, you guys, this is so awesome. I just cannot thank our pastors, Bishop Larry J. Baylor and Pastor Marlon T. Baylor, enough for, and I'm going to bring this up Sunday as well, for being trailblazers in this area, because they are a church who understands the need and they're trying to understand the dynamic surrounding this epidemic. And they are willing to, again, put their money where their mouth is, and they are showing us that they are willing to open up their doors for us to come in. This Sunday, we are asking everybody, if you can, to come. All of the shirts and the t-shirts, the shirts and the mask sets are sold out. We don't have any left. So if you didn't get a chance to get your shirt and your mask set, you can wear any purple that you want to symbolize domestic awareness. This Sunday, it is dressed down. We're going to be in Chucks, jeans, t-shirts, Nikes, whatever you want to dress down in. And so we want you to come out and we're going to share. And of course, I am the speaker. I am so honored because when we were putting this together, the thought never came to my mind that it would be me. Because I was about just getting the information out there. So again, it is this Sunday, Domestic Violence Awareness Sunday at Faith Miracle Temple Church on 870 Pershaw Road. It starts at 10:30 a.m. And I'm going to tell you, our church, they start at 10:30 a.m. sharp. So we want you to get there. We want you to be in a presence because, service is not long. It's not long at all. And so we don't want you to miss any information or resources or whatever it is that God will be speaking on. We want you to be there. And so that is this Sunday, the Domestic Violence Awareness Sunday at Faith Miracle Temple Church at 10:30. So you guys know every second Saturday in October, we always have a race against abuse. The JADASA 3K, 5K race. This is a timed race. But this year we decided, again, we were keeping you in mind, your safety as well. And because of COVID-19 and the variant, we decided to do something different this October versus having the 3K, 5K race this year be due to the variant. We decided to do an online game night. This is $30 a ticket. And I'm telling you, your $30 goes a long way. Your $130 can be a one-way bus or a train ticket for a survivor to escape her abuser. Your $30 can provide a meal for a mother and two kids. Your $30 can provide a pack of diapers and a can of formula for a mother who has a child. And your $30 could also provide toiletries. So your $30 can make a difference in somebody's life. So we're asking you to go out there and register. It's going to be Cahoots, trivia, scavenger hunt. We're going to walk you through Cahoots. As long as you have your cell phone in your hand and that computer, it's going to be fun, games, giveaways, prizes, and everything is going to be online. So even when you win, your gift card is going to be an e-card. So you'll get your gift card right away. You don't have to wait for anything in the mail. So that is coming up. That is Friday, October the 8th at 7 o'clock. The Zoom room will open at 6:30. Again, this is in lieu of the 3K, 5K race that we normally have every year, the second Saturday in October. And so if God says the same, we will be right back on track next October, our second Saturday, doing our race. Okay. And so the last one, oh my God, you ladies have got to sign up for this free, did you hear me? Free event. It is our first women's community panel with Regina Balcom of Balcom's Life Celebration Center and JADASA. We've come together because we want to do something in the community and to help the women. And so we've got a excellent list of panelists who are well versed in their areas, in their field. And so we have Hope Walker, who is our saxophonist, to come in and hear some little jazz. We got Regina Balcom, who is the co-host of this event from Balcom's Life Celebration Center. We also have Sarah White, who is the founder of New Beginnings Safe House. We also have Allison Postgate, who is the founder of Empowering Visions. We have Donna Scott, who is the founder of Unmasking Suicide. Me, Cynthia Bennett, another co-host of JADASA. And then we have Vicky Calmeese, who is a comedian from Health Hilarious. And so we are going to have a wonderful time. We're going to talk about issues that, maybe we don't necessarily talk about as often, but needs to be talked about. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room. It's going to probably be several elephants in the room, but we want to walk away knowing that we are empowered, that we have resources, that we can talk about these things and not feel like we're judged. This is a no judgment zone. No judgment. I'm not watering down my testimony because somebody can't handle it. I'm just not going to do that. And I don't want you to do that either, because we are there to lift up one another. There is nothing I have been through that somebody else in that room hasn't gone through. And there is nothing somebody in that room hasn't gone through that I probably or you haven't been through. So we're not going to go in there trying to fake the funk, trying to act like we all there in a bag of chips. No, we're not getting to do all that. We go get this stuff out and we go bring it to the table, and we're going to deal with some issues that's plaguing us. We're dealing with some real life issues. So I want you to go out there. Seating is limited, people. Seating is limited because of COVID. We want to make sure that we are dealing with social distancing. Masks are required. This is a dress down event. Come with your tennis shoes. You can come with your jeans or whatever. Don't come, dressed up. This is not a church event. This is a community event. Okay. So we want you to make sure you go to your calendars, go to the website, JADASA.org, and register. So these are some of the things that's going on during the month of October that JADASA is being a part of in some shape, form, or fashion. And so we want to see your face in the place. Okay. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, always go to JADASA.org and put it in the chat or send us an email and we will respond. I promise you. So let's get started. Tonight, I wanted to discuss a story that has been on the front page of media. And when I say the front page of media, I'm talking about live media, print media, radio media, social media platforms. And that is the Gabby Petito case. Now, just to give, I'm pretty sure I'll give a little backdrop, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows about this case, what's going on. And we know that the news outlets and the social media are exploding with stories and comments on Gabby Petito and her fiance. And I can't think of the name, Laurent. I can't think of his name right now at the point. But this couple, Gabby Petito and her fiance, they went on this cross-country, joyride or cross-country trip, with each other in this van and stuff. And so, she went missing, and at first, okay, this was a missing persons case, but before, but we know since then she's been found. Her remains have been found dead, and we know this is heartbreaking and this is very sad. But I do want to digress a little bit, and because before we looked at some of these videos and realized, like I said, the elephant in the room, there is some domestic issues going on there. But before we knew that and we saw the video, it was a missing persons case. And so I want to let everybody know this is not a black and white issue. This is a human issue. And when I say that, let's not think about just one person because of their ethnicity or whatever. Let's think about the Jelani Days. Let's think about the Daniel Jacksons, all these people that were missing. Of course, Jelani has been found deceased, but Daniel Robinson, I think it's Daniel Robinson, out of Arizona, the geologist, he has not been found yet. And so let's not blow up one case or one issue because of whatever preconceived notions we have and then downplay the other. Human is human. Folks hurt, black, white, rich, poor, whatever. When your loved one is missing, hurt doesn't have a color. Pain doesn't have a color. Worry doesn't have a color or ethnicity. That we all feel the same. We all bleed the same. We all have all these things that's going on. in our minds. And I can think when my daughter was a baby, and I know we were in the store. I can't even remember what store. Now, Jada's 31, I think, 31. But I think she was like maybe 3 or 4 years old. For that 15 minutes, I could not find that girl in the store. That was the worst feeling of 15 minutes in my life. I thought somebody had took my baby. That is a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling any mother could ever possibly have to endure. That 15 minutes, I almost lost my mind. I was in the store boo-hooing like a baby, crying, calling her name out. I had folks in the store looking for her, just everything. And I was so happy to see her. I was mad and then I was happy. And I didn't pop or spank her, but I just say, Jada, don't ever do that again. She was in the midst of the racks. You know how you have the clothes in the racks, like, you know, jeans or whatever. She was sitting in the midst of the rack, up under the rack, sitting there playing with some toy. And we all over the store just frantic. That, my case did not end tragically. But I'm going to tell you that 15 minutes felt like time had just stood still, like I was in the twilight zone. So I would not wish that on any mother, anybody who has a person that they just don't know their whereabouts and stuff. It's just a horrible feeling. So I just want to make sure before we realize this was it ended up tragically the way it did. It was a missing persons case. And I just want the community to know a person is a person. And let's not look at color and ethnicity, whether we go blow it up on media or we go downplay it. That's just not right. You know, human is human. So I just want to, you know, shout out those other people named, and it's others. It's many others as well. And so now we have come up on these videos, and you know, after she's found dead, they come up. I just got so, I'm telling y'all, it was so many red flags. I looked at that. I'm like, wait a minute, what in the world? Just even some of the stories, they're just open-ended. You know, it's just like when you listen to folks talk, you know, you got 3 or 4 more questions behind what they say. It just boggles my mind. And so now that, you know, Gabby has, you know, sadly been found dead, deceased, you know, the community is asking questions. They are asking questions. Well, why didn't she do this? And, you know, why didn't she do that? Or why her family didn't do this? And why didn't she know better than to? And couldn't her mother do? You know what this is called? This is called victim blaming. It's called victim blaming. And victim blaming occurs when the victim of a crime or any wrongdoing, wrongful act is held entirely or partially at fault for the harm that was due to them or that befell them. Now, some people leave earlier than others that's been going through this, you know, but some people struggle. You know, I don't know people, if you haven't been through I hate to hear people say, well, why don't she just leave her? Why don't he just leave her? Why he keep going back? Domestic abuse, it is just like drugs. It is a codependency. If you've been in it for a while, if you've endured that thing, you know, it becomes a codependency, just like drugs. I'm sure everybody that's out there on crack, cocaine, heroin, or whatever, they did not just wake up and decide, okay, today I'm just going to start taking crack, or I'm just going to start taking heroin. But whatever reason that they fell in that situation, it has become a codependency where they feel like they can't focus or they can't live or they're afraid. That's the same kind of codependency a person who has been in a violent or domestic violence relationship. One, they have distorted thoughts. And some of this stuff, I'm speaking from experience. I'm going to be transparent, y'all, you know, and I have to let you know, this was in my first marriage over 30 years ago. My husband of 23 years and going forward, I always say, Cynthia, make sure you let them know that it is not me, because I don't want people come jumping on me. So I am letting you all know it is not my current husband. It is not Bennett. This is my previous husband when I was young and 21 and dumb, and then, didn't really know what I was in. And so when you are in a domestic violence relationship or you dealing with things of that nature, you can have distorted thoughts, and that's being controlled and hurt. When you're being controlled and hurt, that can be traumatizing. And when a person is traumatized, it can be debilitating. It can stop it to the point where there's a saying, I've said this before, where you want to hope things get better, or you want to hope you get out of something, but it hurts too much to even hope, because if it don't come that way and it don't go the way you want, then you're in further pain. So sometimes hope does hurt. And so when you have these distorted thoughts, it leads to confusion and doubts, and sometimes it's self-blame. Perpetrators harass and accuse victims, and sometimes that can wear a person down. That becomes not only just domestic abuse, it could be emotional abuse, because it just wear you down when somebody's just constantly pounding and pounding and pounding with words and pounding, calling you this, and it's your fault. And you just like if you lay down and have water just dripping on your head, maybe the first 2 or 3 drops you can deal with it, but let the water just drip in that same spot, you're going to end up getting a headache. That's going to become debilitating. That is the same thing when you have distorted thoughts, when somebody is constantly speaking and saying those things to you. And these are some of the things I saw when they stopped the van. Was it in Utah or somewhere? And she was in the back seat, and you could tell she was upset and crying and stuff. First of all, I just got so many thoughts about that. And I just want to share with that tonight. Maybe somebody else has something too. And so, you can have damaged self-worth, and that's from degrading treatment. A person, like you're saying, they feel like they have no value. I can't do nothing right. It's my fault, and sometimes when you're in that type of situation and the person is doing those things to you, it can diminish your self-worth. And let me just put this out here. Most abusers are very charismatic. They not go act the way they are with the victim out in public. They're not. Case in point, look at how this guy was when they stopped. He almost had like a narcissistic type personality. She was upset. He seemed like it wasn't bothering him, like it didn't faze him or anything. And they was trying to talk to her, and you could just tell she had probably been in that state of flux for a while, because she just looked disheveled. It was just so heartbreaking. It was just so heartbreaking. I just cannot imagine, even if you've been going through that, because stuff like that don't just come on us. It just don't happen like that. There's some traits, there's some things that has been going on before. And of course, she probably figured, let's take this trip or whatever. I'm just guessing. I'm not saying it's right, but I can't imagine her. You go trip. 1,000 miles away from home. She in this area, in this van. I can't imagine what she's thinking, away from her parents, away from her family, away from her friends, away from her support system. And you way out here in no man's land with this person. And, now you got all of this stuff that's going on. The police had to been called or stopped. Somebody said he slapped her. They reported this. I'm going to tell you, whoever that police force is, you know what? I'm not going to jump ahead yet. I'm not going to jump ahead. So let me see about these comments. I see, so true. Yeah. So fear is another reason, the threat of bodily and emotional harm is powerful, especially if somebody fears somebody. Abusers use that to control and to keep a person's trapped. When you're being hurt or when you're being traumatized, fear, they thrive on that fear. They thrive on you being fearful. They thrive on that. And so those are some of the things why victims go through that and want to be. And sometimes they stay because they want to be a savior. You know, I tell women, look, you can't try to, I tried that. And I tried it. You cannot save nobody. And the Bible says you don't save yourself. Save yourself from this untoward this generation. You can't save, and we always want to be in that muddy low. You know, we want to fix it. You know, just like when you're at home, you know, you doing something, and maybe somebody in your house they're trying to fix something, or they trying to put something together, or they're trying to cook something. And all of a sudden they just moving too slow for it. And all of a sudden, you know, let me do it. I'll do it. You know, we do that. Let me just do it. And we know how to fix it. We know how to multitask. Most women know how to multitask because we're doing 3 or 4 things while the one person, you know, maybe taking them all day. You just said, well, let me do it. We still have that same concept when it comes to relationships. And then survivors, you know, when it's dealing with the abuser, they want to be the savior. You know, they want to describe, I want to just help him. I just want him to, I want to love him to the point where he will change. No, the abuser owns that. He owns that. Don't you take on that ownership, because when you take on that ownership, what you're doing, you're saying, I am responsible for you. No, and if you make them feel that way, they will never take ownership for their actions. It's going to always, well, if you hadn't have done this, I wouldn't have done that. If you hadn't said this, I wouldn't have said that. So no, we cannot be their savior. They have to want to be saved themselves. Sometimes people stay because of children, you know, and I know this is not in Gabby's case, but I'm getting to Gabby, but I'm talking to everybody that's on this social media platform and that's on Blog Talk Radio who may be listening, or you may be sharing this to somebody. So I'm talking to you guys as well, and myself. You know, I keep talking to myself because I want to keep reminding myself, because if you don't remember and remind yourself, sometimes you'll fall back in something. And I'm not saying, oh, it just can't happen to me and I can slip back. You know, thankfully I don't have a husband that does that, but I don't put myself up here. I don't, because I'm human just like everybody else. Everybody has human tendencies. So family expectations and experience. You know, sometimes people stay in it. I've known women who stay in those situations. Well, you know, my dad was never divorced. And she went through it. You know, you cannot live everybody's experiences. You cannot base your expectations on others' experiences. You can't not do that. Yes, people do stay for all the wrong reasons. And you don't have to. We don't want you to stay in that, because you have to feel like that you're better than that. You're more worthy than that. You're not somebody's punching bag. You're not that. That's not what you was made for. God did not create women or men, because we have women that abuse men. We're not punching bags. That is not what he created a spouse for, to be a punching bag. Then some people stay for financial constraints. You know, especially if you got kids, folks. Let's be real. Nowadays, you got 2 and 3 kids. Folks ain't trying to put you up in their house. They just not. Not with no 2 or 3 kids. Matter of fact, folks ain't even trying to put you up with 1 kid, because people just they got lives, and they don't feel like if they open their doors, then they open their doors to not only what you're going through, but then what comes along with it. You know, whatever their reasons are. I am not condoning or condemning anybody. Everybody have their reasons why they do help and why they don't. That is totally up to you. I don't judge. That is that person. But I'm just saying, some people stay because they may not have family or friends that can assist them or to help them. And so if he holding a pocketbook and trying to give you allowances and you working, that's financial abuse. Or he's holding the pocketbook and he won't give you money unless, or he won't, allow you to go places or buy stuff, but you got to provide certain things for him, or he's abusing the money. Every time you look around, your account is a negative, and you got to fix this, and you got to make arrangements with this debt collector, and he just running up and racking up the bills and then putting stuff in your name. That's financial abuse. And that's kind of hard to come above and get out of that when you do decide, because now you got all this stuff. The people The debt collectors, they don't care. They don't know whether you agreed to that with him. All they know is this is in your name. And so, and then isolation. People don't want to be by themselves. And a lot of times they stay because of isolations. They don't have family and friends and they don't want to talk about it. And, abusers like this, they like to take you from your family and your friends, and they always start with, why you always got to call your mama? Why you always got to go over there with your people? Why you always got to call them? Why, I don't want them in my, they always want to start them. I don't want them in their business. First of all, people ain't trying to really be in your business for real, not for real, because everybody got a plate. Everybody got a full plate in their own life. They really ain't trying to eat off your plate. But when people see what's going on, this, all these reasons that I gave, they are common, but it depends on the person. And so what I'm saying, we don't know why she stayed in this situation that was going on this road trip. I've been in this movement for almost 20 years. That just did not happen on that road trip. There were signs. She may not never say it. I know I saw all the pictures. I know I saw all the video. We're having we're wonderful. We're stopping here and it's beautiful. I know all of that. But then on the flip side, when stuff was going haywire and then they had the video when the police stopped, then we saw the other side. So that just didn't start. And so I think about that, and people, we just have to be careful. One, we just don't judge. We just want to get down to the bottom of what's going on. When I tell you it's so many red flags, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. And so we know people always say, well, she could have did this, or why she didn't leave me. Of course, we know hindsight is 20/20. We always can say stuff after the fact. But you can't judge because you don't know what you would do in that situation. I don't know. I know what I did do and I know what I didn't do at the time. Okay, that was 30 years ago. I don't know what I would do now. One thing I know is, my point is, I tried to empathize and put myself in a person's shoes, right? If it was that easy, people would do it. It's not. Soul ties are tied up in that stuff. Soul ties are real. If you got kids, you still got to deal with, all of that. You got, because they don't understand. All they want to know is why I can't see daddy or why I can't see mama. So now you got to deal with that. And then if that's the truth, you don't want them to, villainize you and make you look like the bad person, like you the one that's trying to keep them. Kids just don't understand. It's just a lot of dynamics in it. So we need to be careful of not to judge and say what I should or what I wouldn't do or what I them kind of people, I dismiss them so quick. Because first of all, you don't know what you're going to do, and you're not being empathetic, and you're being judgmental, and that's hurting. That can damage a person. That can re-traumatize a person and make them feel like they're on the island all by themselves. Like, you know what? I was going to talk to her, but before she said that, I'm not saying nothing. Because now, you've been around the person. Now you feel worse. Because, now they pretty much judged you and looked down on you, like, making you feel like you're either dumb or stupid for even dealing with it, putting up with it, or stayed longer than you should. Whatever the issue is, been there, done that, So we have to make sure that we leave that door open, because whenever they come back, whenever they come to their senses, whenever they get the strength, whenever they get the courage to leave or to talk or to share, be that open door. Don't shut the door on them before they muster up the courage, because then they stay longer than they should. And we don't want that. And so with this Gabby's case, when I tell you, first of all, I want to know who is the police people. Y'all, come on. That's why we need to have training. We need to have sensitivity training, just like we have those diversity training in the corporate America, and diverse sensitivity about, people's, belief systems and religions and all that stuff, all this sensitivity training in corporate, which is good. But we need to bring that over in something like this. Why in God's creation did the police or whoever that was that stopped her while she was in the back seat? You clearly can see that the woman was distressed. You clearly can see that she was upset. You clearly can see that there was something going on that wasn't happy. Why did they just not pull that lady out? Maybe she wasn't go talk, but hey, let's just go they should have called a female officer or something, a female. Because even if she was an officer, she was a female first, she would have understood. Maybe it would have been different. I was just, when I saw that, I was like, wow. And nobody picked up a red flag. Nobody. And I get it. Some policemen may not be able to deal with it or understand and know how. No, but then think about it. If that was your daughter, would you have a red flag? She was 22 years old. That was a baby. Would you have a red flag feeling like, okay, something ain't right? And of course, she may not tell it, because sometimes abuse people that's been in those situations or in that situation, the last person you tell or police officer, because sometimes they are not as sensitive as they could be, because they may not know how to be. I'm not go down them, but I just feel like, oh my God, that was an opportunity to at least, okay, let's just separate. Let's calm down. Let's get you in a hotel. Something, and then when they talking to her, she upset. He over there like nothing happening, nothing going on. Like, everything's great. Nothing. And I'm like, this is clearly, those are clearly telltale signs. Clearly telltale. Yeah, she might have been afraid out of her mind. Like, if they leave and I say something and he get a hold of me, you never know what was in her mind. She may have been afraid to talk. Okay, people, look between the lines. Come on, look at the body languages. Look, read something. When I saw it, I was like, I had to look at it twice. I'm like, really? Am I really seeing this? Am I really seeing this? And I hate for them to think about, oh, I wish I could have, would have. That's a horrible feeling too. And I'm sure they probably felt that way, And so they even said about the police, the stranger that made a police report, about him hitting her. So my thing is this: obviously, he has a controlling problem or whatever. It was an abusive nature. And again, like I said, it didn't start when they went on this road trip, So statistics tells us that in abusive relationships, violent and controlling behaviors often start very early. You see that stuff in the beginning. Like, who you talking to? Why are you talking to them? What they want? What they texting you for? What they need? Why? Let me see all that stuff. I know it look cute. Oh, he like that. Yeah, that ain't cute. That ain't cute. Red flag. Red flag. Anytime he want to see where you going, when you going, when you coming back, who you going with, what you texting, who you texting, why you texting them. Let me see the text. Those are red flags. Those are controlling behaviors. I know you feel like, some girls, and I've been around them, so I'm not talking about Gabby because I don't know her personally. But some look at, well, he cute, he like me. Yeah, you think it's cute. It's right, Sister Williams. It is not cute at all. That stuff come back and haunt you. It's very controlling. It's very controlling. His mannerism when the police stopped him, it was just unreal. He was like unfazed, uncaring, almost like, I don't know what she talking about. He didn't say it, but his mannerism was just, it was alarming. It was cause for alarm. Like, okay, we might need to look into this, Now, okay, granted, they didn't, obviously. Now, the dude that came back home off the road trip without her. What? Oh, no. My daughter going on, first of all, my daughter wouldn't be going on a road trip with no guy anyway. But, let me take that back. I don't think she would. Let me not put that out there and then she turn around and make me out alive. But anyway, I don't think she would. But my point is that you come back home without my daughter. I'm finding out what is going on, when, what happened, something. And I'm talking about his family. How you come back off a road trip, what, 700,000, 1,000 miles without the girl? What kind of story did you tell your parents? And did they believe him? What kind of story? The story says that she and he lived together in his parents' house. She lived with them people before they went on this road trip. What kind of story could he have told his parents where they believed him? You done went on this road trip with this girl that you live with. Y'all supposed to be getting married. You all are your fiance. You done came back off this road trip without her. That don't make sense to me, y'all. Some things I can say, okay, well, that do not make sense. So, did they realize he had some tendencies? You know, first of all, let me go back. Parents, we know our kids. I'm going to go there. We know our kids. And to me, what's alarming is that it said, I didn't read the story now. If I did, if there's a story out there, y'all, please, somebody send me a comment, text, email me or something and let me know. But I don't see a story where they said he reported her or they called the girl's mama or daddy or something. They said, what, after they reported her, I think it's September 11th, missing, then he told his parents he decided to go to the reserve. What? The reserve. Okay, some kind of camping trip. He decided to go to some kind of, but then they said, but he didn't come home. So they filed a missing person report. Now, they told the FBI he didn't come home by Thursday. My thing is this, maybe I'm missing it. When did they file the missing persons report? It didn't say they filed it before the FBI. It says when the FBI came to them, they told them that he was missing after he didn't come back after 2 days and he left his wallet and something else at home. I'm telling you, y'all, this ain't making sense to me. This is not making sense to me. I'm not going to say, what the parents did or didn't know. I'm not going to say that, they had. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying what media has already put out there. So don't nobody become calling me and blowing up my phone saying you do. I'm not saying nothing that's not already put out there. All I'm saying is, when did they file the missing person report? Because it's just, her parents said she was missing September 11th. Well, when did you come home without her? For your parents to know you came in the house. You came in the house. Okay, where's Gabby? What you tell them? What kind of story did you tell them that they thought it was okay that y'all went on this trip for what? I don't know how long. I didn't read that part, but y'all been on this trip and you done came all the way back home without her. It's just not making sense. It's not making sense. And so, they said they hadn't seen him since Tuesday. That Tuesday. It's just not making sense. Y'all, my husband had something out the door out there. So, social media, blog talk radio. Look at relationships around you. Even including teens. If you have teenagers, daughters, cousins, neighbors, friends, or whatever, your friends got teenagers, just look at relationships around us. Let's look at relationships. Do they give you reason to pause? Is it a cause to pause? When you see these relationships, what's different? Do it make you, stop and say, wait a minute, this ain't looking right. This don't sound right. This is not this is not cool. How the person sound, their voice, is it a demanding voice? Is it an authoritative voice? Is it, Cynthia, come here. Is it something like, is it harsh? Is it something that make you jump or make your spirit, sometimes we get those, those looks. You could be doing something and somebody will say something and make you stop and look. Does it do that even with our kids and our family and our friends and our cousins and stuff like that? Is it a fierce look that they kind of monitor and watching? Because I look at people. I may act like I'm doing something. I'm looking at folks. I look at people. Look at how the person that's with them. How do you talk to them when they can't see it themselves? Sharon, I get that to you. And so, what is the ease? Okay, if they're talking to somebody and maybe there's a debate, how quickly is the person giving in? Look at that. Because there may be some fear behind that. There may be some fear behind that. How quickly do they give in? What is it? All of a sudden they change in their look, self-esteem. Look how pretty this girl was on some of them pictures. She was a pretty girl. But when they had stopped her in the back of that, I had to look and see if that was the same person, because she was disheveled. You could tell her face was kind of puffy. She had been crying, eyes all puffy. She had been crying. She was just not the bubbly person that they showed on previous videos that she had on Facebook when they was, chronicling their little trip or whatever. And, look at her personality and, look at all this. Or she quiet, or that person quiet and silent. How do you do that? Those are some of the things we need to look at. This girl, to me, it's just so many. Sharon, you said, how do you talk to them when they can't see it themselves? Sometimes it can't be you. Sometimes you will be the last person. Sometimes it has to be somebody else. You ask them questions. So sometimes you can't you say, well, hey, how you doing? And if they not ready, what you always do is you always be that open door. You always say, well, you know what? Whenever you want to talk, I'm here. Always be that open door, because they may not see it at the time you see it. I'm sure she didn't think the whole world saw her in the back of that car on that video. I'm sure she didn't think we probably picked up on it. If you've been in that type of relationship before, whether you're an advocate or not, or somebody, or even if you live long enough, come on, you could see the signs were there. But she probably didn't think people knew. And so sometimes people don't see it themselves. So what you have to do is you have to always be that open door and say, you know what, whenever you don't say, this is what I see, because, then they're going to retract and pull back from you. They ain't going to talk to you. But what you do, you just say, hey, sis, or daughter, or whatever. You don't have to say, this is what I see. Just say, if you ever want to talk, I am here. I am your ear. Whatever you want to talk about, it won't go nowhere. Whenever you want to talk, what you want to do is you want to be that open door, because they have to see it themselves. They have to get the strength and the courage themselves. And when they do, they are going to remember that you was the person that said if they ever need. Now, when they come to you, they go tell you a little bit, and they go watch your reaction. If you all acting all and all doing all this stuff, they go shut it down. They go shut it down, because they go feel like, okay, they can't handle this because you're doing all of this other stuff. They go watch your actions. So if you say you want to be there and be that open door, make sure whatever they tell you, make your face like flint. Don't show no reaction. Just, nod and say, I hear you. I understand. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm here for you. What do you want to do? Because you always want to give it back to them. What do you want to do? You want to give them the power back, because it's been taken from them. So you always, what do you want to do? They may say, I don't know what I want to do. Okay, well, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you always, because abusers thrive in isolation and darkness. They want them isolated and feel like they're by themselves. Nobody going to be there for them. Nobody's going to help them. Nobody want to be bothered with them. They're going to always do that. So you always remain to be that open door for them. Okay. Always be that open door for them until they see it for themselves. Okay. And so it's just hard. Changes in behavior. Yes, thank you. Changes, good job. I will have my view offline. Okay, thank you. Changes in behavior with both partners. All of a sudden he want to be aggressive or she want to be aggressive. All of a sudden the other person is passive or timid or just, I just don't want to be bothered. I just don't care. That's an avoidance. Look at those changes. And then, we need to talk not only just with our survivors, we need to talk to the victim. We need to talk to the abuser as well and let them know, hey, this is not cool. Why? Find out why. I've talked to abusers. I have talked to ex-abusers who are reformed and they're not with the person no more, but they have moved on. And so we need to get the community involved. This case is very disheartening. Like I said, before it was a missing person's case until we saw that video. And when we saw that video, you can tell that there was some domestic violence. All the red flags was there. All the telltale signs were there. And so let's get the community involved and invite agencies like JADASA. We can do speaker forums. We can do panels, discussion panels and trainings so that we can continue to lessen the effects of abuse and strive to eradicate it. So in the meantime, let's remember Gabby Petito and the many, many, many others who have been taken from us, who has dealt with this type of pandemic, along with their families and their friends during these difficult days ahead. And so I want us to remember, if you have anything, if with everyone's help, we can get help to those who need it most and work through this crisis, which is a pandemic, together. You can call the domestic violence hotline number at 1-800-799-7233 or the hotline.org. You can also reach us, JADASA, at 1-800-292-2145 or at jadasa.org. I am always going to go to the scripture, Jeremiah 29:11. He says, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you." God is thinking some thoughts towards us. He said, "I know the thoughts." And he said, "Those are thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." God is thinking peaceful things of you. He wants your end to be what you expect. That is what Jeremiah is saying. He wants your end to be what you expect. Now, remember, JADASA is the community. You are the community. Therefore, you are JADASA. Remember, it's JADASA 24/7, 365 days, all day, every day. With that being said, I want you to be safe. I want you to be well, and I want you to be whole. With that being said, I'm trying to do my band to be safe. I will see you next Monday, same time at 7:05, because we are trying to marry up Blog Talk Radio and this platform together. Good night.